I could have bought a building with $3.8 million, but I bought a Bugatti because I'm not scared.
What about the property guy, though, that makes $1 million a month?
Okay.
And then he goes and puts it in property?
They're scared. I was spending like 25 grand just to store my cars.
7 years ago, you can check in my channel, I was living in a hostel. Now we're here.
From dishwasher to millionaire, Amadeo Llados, known for his unfiltered views on wealth and success, coaches millions on breaking free from mediocrity.
Telling people to ditch sleep for success, he's unapologetically challenging ordinary mindsets to achieve extraordinary results.
Because I'm here to help you guys, and I'm here to make sure you guys are walking the path that is gonna take you to your purpose, your mission in life, and just fucking kill it.
Someone's watching this right now. How do they start living this path that you're talking of?
First of all, like, that's how I became a millionaire.
Where does your happiness come from? You're like the happiest dude that I've ever met. Like the other day I pull up, we don't really know each other. We've only chat on, we've had a chat on Instagram, and you're in your car about to leave the gym. I walk over and I say hi, and you just like, this big smile comes out and you like get out the car's still running. There's all people around taking photos of you. And it was like in that moment, you were there present just with me. It was like nothing else mattered.
Yeah.
Where does that come from?
Oh man, I'm just a kid.
Yeah.
I'm just a kid. I even get goosebumps like thinking about this. I'm 33 years old, okay? And I've gone through so much stuff. And sometimes you get lost in life, sometimes you regroup, Mm-hmm. But like right now, I just fight every day to just be that kid with no money that I was in a hostel, because that's your authentic you. When money's not an issue, when there's no responsibilities, all this stuff, you just like a real kid. So that's who I am. Like, I'm sure you will be that same kid if you were that pure kid when you're young, or like anyone watching. And that's why, because I just remain a kid. And like, God says like, no one is gonna be given, the keys of the God's kingdom if they don't remain a kid. That's what it says, and that's the key to everything. People think it's the whip, it's the car, it's the mansion, the jet, the watch. It's not that, bro. It's inside. And actually, the more money you make, the harder it is to remain that kid.
How do you find that? Because from what I've seen and heard of you speak about, like you didn't grow up with money, you didn't, it was quite challenging. When you say that about being a child, I completely understand it, but I don't understand it because for me, my mum was young when she had me.
Okay.
And there was a lot of pressure and a lot of tension in the house. Mm-hmm. I actually don't know what it's like to be a child. Because I was always, even when I was at school, right? So in grade 1, I would go and pick my sister up from kindergarten or from childcare because both my parents were working. Yeah. So even for me,
I don't grow up fast.
Yeah, I didn't know when you talk about it. I don't actually. I can't even remember being a child.
So my dad is there. I mean, I didn't grow up poor or rich. My dad was good. So I never had anything missing. No food. No. We always had a house, car. But like probably when I was 16, my dad, had a very, very, very hard time economically. So we were like struggling like big. He had a house, couldn't make the payments, the light, all this stress. So when I left my country, when I left my country when I was 22 probably, I just left and like I basically had no backup. Like my dad didn't have money to send me. I just, one shot, one bullet, But personally, my memories from when I was a kid, they're very good. My dad and my mom gave me like very good life, and I have those memories. But at the end of the day, if you didn't have that, you just have to look within yourself. All the answers are spiritual. Any problem you have in this, physical world has a spiritual answer. It's not a physical answer, right? Because what we have inside us, which is our spirit, it's infinite. It never stops, So actually, people think that we need to find the answers here, but we already came with all the answers. Basically, God created you perfect. you don't need to change anything. You know what I'm saying? You know, your environment, you know, told you what you have to see or be or do, right? So they told you how to act. You know, they gave you a perspective of life, right? You had to pick up your sister, all this stuff. They were like this, that. That is just like something fake that you tell yourself in your mind, you know? So you have to just, if you, for example, have trouble with that, try get close to people that don't have the problem.
Okay.
So
we need to hang out more.
Yeah, exactly. So you felt it when you met me. So
Yeah.
that's what's gonna like get you like back to that like, you know, pure state. So that's what I always tell everyone. Like it's about like re-knowing yourself, and that always comes from like personal development and suffering. You know, like if I see you like you have muscle, but like you have to suffer even more like with your macros and get like really lean. Like, you know, people misunderstand, and I've been in Australia living, and you know, over there they just like take everything and get jacked and like all this stuff, but like it's used in a bad way, you know. But when you use fitness to get really lean and you use that just to be uncomfortable physically, you can tap into the source and you can tap into that infinite intelligence. The more in shape you are, the more you suffer. You know, it's how you're gonna tap more with the source, and that's how you're gonna get all those answers. Like,
Was diet and food one of those things that you ever had challenges with? Like, did you love food growing up? Because I see photos, you were quite a skinny kid.
yeah, I was skinny.
So, yeah.
I've never been fat, okay? Because I've always done a lot of exercise, but I was skinny. I didn't have abs or muscle. Yeah, once I touched the gym with 20 years old, I'm 33. I've been 13 years training and nutrition like full on, you know? So 100%, the thing people don't understand, like people try and get the answers in this era, there's nothing here, bro. Like all these 2024, 1980, it's this bullshit, bro. You gotta just go before all that stuff, you know? Like if you see how we were created, like understand that we're created to work, you know, to suffer, you know, to do a lot of exercise, to eat very little, because we could just go 30 days without eating and just hunting and walking. So the way you really tap into who you are, example, like if you're watching this and you don't understand anything I'm saying, say, what the fuck is this guy saying? Try this thing, okay? Try just like doing 500 burpees. And you'll be like, oh, I can't do that. I'm like, you can do 500 burpees. Like anyone can do it. Even if you're not even in shape and you think you're gonna die. When you actually do it, whatever it takes, in that moment, you will understand what I'm saying. Because you are completely disconnected of like, you know, this, you know, world. Like you are so physically tired, you're so mentally exhausted that you just start disconnecting like, you know, stuff that is making noise. Let's say this thing, okay? Imagine I'm here and there's like 15 things coming at me, right? People talking, right? And one is the voice you gotta listen to, which is your conscience, right? Which is the authentic voice of God. So you have like 15 voices. You can't listen to that. So how can you listen to that voice? Disconnect that one. Friend, disconnect this one. Too much eating, you know, disconnect that one. You know, too much sleeping, disconnect. So you start disconnecting. Life is about subtracting. It's not about adding. When you add stuff, you're making it worse.
I love that, because that's, I think, what most people do. I know I used to do that. And it wasn't until only recently that I kept hearing that from you and Wes, is you got to subtract, take away. I'm the opposite. And I know Jess, my wife, is the same.
Yeah.
We'll literally get the whole day and we'll book out 16 hours worth of work.
Yeah.
And then we're still trying to fit more in.
Yeah.
And then by the end of the day, you're overwhelmed. And
I mean,
there's so much stuff.
The thing I'm telling you guys this, maybe you guys don't know me. I don't even like to speak anymore about like money or how much I make. It's just something, I just bought this Ferrari and I used to say, first thing I'll say how much I pay for. I'm like, I'm just so off that, but like, just so people can understand, because most of the people just live in the money, right? But I mean, I've gone from having $50 in my Commonwealth account.
Yeah, because you lived in Australia.
I have a screenshot. It's a Commonwealth Bank, $50 in 2015 to, I mean, driving a Bugatti, you know, like flying jet, making millions, you know. I've made over $1 million a month, like so many times. That's something that it's crazy. Like so little people get to that point, and I've got to that point always subtracting. My life now, it's easier than it was before, you know.
How do you manage that? So like for me, the idea of subtracting stuff from my life stresses me out just even thinking about it, because I'm like, I've got a team.
You don't know if that's gonna, like, the thing is, it stresses you out because if you would know like the one thing, two things that actually make you move forward, it would not stress you out to eliminate the rest.
That's very true.
You're just not confident that it's 100% right. So everyone knows everything, but they're not like really confident about it. They need someone that has walked the path and be like, yeah, bro, it's like that. And now you just go with it, you know? But it's hard to commit to something because you don't really know the outcome, you know? But it's just, life is simple, but it's complicated, you know? If I had to go back, I'll just do it again and I'll be just chilling because I just know perfectly what to do. The proof is that any of my students that actually listen to me and actually apply, I mean, I've got students from like, you know, putting air to a bicycle to buying a Lambo cash in Spain, which is not a country where people make a lot of money. And that in a matter of a year of having social media. The problem is that people, again, you remember what I told you about the voices? So if you're watching this, you're probably watching so many other podcasts and so many other people and so many other like coaches and mentors and business people. And now you're just listening to so many and like, now you're confused. Now, which route are you gonna take? I'm not saying that my route is the only route. There's many routes, but there's only one way, bro. I mean, there's up or down. It's just you winning or you losing.
How did you deal with the fear of what happens if I lose what I've worked hard for?
First of all, as I say, when people have a lot of voices, they're not gonna hear the conscience. But as soon as they start waking up early, without missing, hitting the gym, the macros, okay, getting in shape, dropping all vices, and dropping every connection with people that are actually not winning or not going there. When you do that, which is pretty simple, after doing that for a while, it gets so clear, your conscience. And now when you start listening to that conscience and you start seeing results, every time you're like more confident. You know, imagine like you tell me something about your business, I'm like, do this, you do that, you times 2 your income. Next time you come to me, do this. So it comes to a point where like you trust it so much. It can be a person, your conscience. So it's just a matter of like doing that. But the thing again, people just don't fully commit to one thing. You know, and that's a problem. People just want to do too many things. And if you see like really successful people, really, they just do one thing.
What's your one thing? Is it the social media and the content?
My one thing, I started with fitness. So I started as a personal trainer, evolved to like an online personal trainer. That's how I became a millionaire. And then it got to the point where, you know, I mean, all these online coaches, you pay a subscription and you get an app and, you know, they do the macros by itself. So anyone that's been hitting the gym a while, they know that's not going to make it, you know? You can give someone a program and give another one a program and one's going to turn into a beast and one is going to be fat. So is it the program? No, it's the person. So when I discovered that, I'm like, wait a minute, I started feeling bad because I was making all this money, probably making like 80 grand, 100 grand a month just by selling these programs, you know? And I would feel bad. I'm like, dude, I'm just, you know, selling stuff that is just very simple, you know? So I just started like actually tapping into like speaking about habits, about what gets me to commit to that diet program, what gets me to commit to that workout program, you know, which is changing you. And I was like, okay, why I have been successful? It's like, okay, I've gone out from my surroundings, you know, my people. I've waken up early. I've started doing drugs, you know. So I realized like, oh shit, all this is just like who I am. It's personal development. So I started like teaching that. So I evolved to like a, you know, a coach, life coach, however you want to call it. I teach people how to get in shape because I change their habits. I change, basically, everyone has certain type of like, you know, thoughts in their brain, you know? Like you may, for example, see a girl pull up right now and you think, oh my God, she's so hot, right? And I see the same girl, I'm like, I will not even touch her.
Okay.
Yeah, yep. Right? Or like you see a car and you're like, bro, that's my dream car. And I see the same car, I'm like, I will not even have it even for free.
I had that yesterday posting. I was out with Wes, and I've put pictures of the Bugatti up and us hanging out together. And a few people like, why would anyone pay that amount of money for such a shit looking car?
Yeah.
And I was like,
well,
what are you talking about?
That's different. I think those people actually want the car,
They're jealous.
but they don't even fathom how it's even possible.
100%.
So that's not, they actually like it.
I agree.
So that's how it works. But what I'm talking about is like people actually have different set of thoughts, and what you think is based on your past experiences, you know. So with me, like if you get me and you put me like back 8 years ago, and you know you put me this girl, I'm like whoa, like you know. But like, after I had one like that, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I'm like, it's normal.
Yeah.
You know, you don't even get excited. Like first Lambo I bought, a Huracan, I'm like, it just was the best car for me feeling wise. Now if I jump on that same car, I wouldn't, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's
Do you think
just-
that's
it's-
because your standards have increased?
Of course, it always happens with everything, but people understand like it's gonna happen with everything. It doesn't matter if it's like a 220K watch or a 20 euro Casio. Like it doesn't matter how expensive or cheap it is. Like it's just the matter of like where your level of conscious is, what you think is normal. Like for me, it's normal to wake up and be able to choose amongst like 6 or 8 supercars, which one I'm taking to the gym.
How do you choose that? That's, I mean, I've got two, but
Yeah.
not like yours. You know,
So-
you've got the SVJ, the
Yeah.
Aventador.
Yeah.
You know, you've got the Bugatti.
Yeah.
You just bought the Ferrari as
Yeah.
well.
So the thing is, like, bro, to be honest, I've literally, again, subtracted. I had up to like 13 cars at one point, like a few months ago. And I even had to like rent a warehouse just to store them. I would literally pay 24K a month just to
A month?
just to rent a warehouse to store my cars.
So that's $240 a year just to store cars
Just
in.
to store the cars, and then probably the light in that place was like 1,000. I don't even know, but like I was spending like 25 grand just to store my cars, because there's no mansion in Miami that fits 13 cars. There's literally no mansion. What happened is that I was like, it got to a point where like as soon as I rented that warehouse, my concept was like, I fucked it. Really,
Yeah.
like that's what my conscience told me. But like I just went on with it, you know. I'm like, oh yeah, this is, even to my wife, like, oh yeah, this was an amazing decision, you know, and all this stuff. You start lying to yourself, but you know what you thought that your conscience told you. And I kept going, and after like a few months, I was like, I don't even want to drive to the warehouse, you know. I don't even like it. I don't even feel good being there. I don't want to work there, and I'm probably using like 5. I probably want to use 5, 6 of my 13 cars, you know. So you start like realizing that whatever it is, like imagine like friends, houses, cars, watches, all stuff that you have, you own or rent or whatever it is, it's actually taking energy of you, you know. So I just took off whatever I was not using, because God told me this literally. I was just like, why I have stuff that I don't want to use, I don't want to play with. So I'm like, now I'm having that stuff just to how people perceive me.
So do you still get caught in the wanting and desiring things? Does that still...
Okay, so I've every time I'm better with that. So, but understand that desire is always gonna come, because if you check the frequency chart, you know, love, you know, happiness, you know, and
think there's,
Iluminación in Spanish, like the highest frequency. The lowest one is literally guilt.
I think that was
and shame.
enlightenment. Is
Enlightenment,
that the
that's
one?
it,
Yeah.
enlightenment. I don't know the word in English. Guilt and shame is the lowest ones.
That your English is better than my Spanish.
Yeah.
So you're doing good.
And the desire, it's probably like between halfway, and the lowest is in the middle.
Yeah.
So there's always gonna be points that you're gonna desire stuff, you know, but that's because you're not in flow state and you're not vibrating high, and it's normal, you know. So it will come like this. For example, me, it's been a lot of times I've desired buying a car, but I'm like, I'll just hold into it. I'll just go into a workout, go into working, tap into like a higher frequency, and that desire goes away. And then it comes again. It's just like, is that really, you really want that? Or it's just because you're there and you don't feel as good, so you want to try and feel better buying something. You know, that's normal. But the thing is, like, I found out the difference between, you really feel when stuff is right. Like, for example, this Ferrari I bought yesterday, I feel so, it's literally made me feel so good and in flow state all the process. Like, you know, I saw a dealership and my concept literally was like, oh, you should stop and check what's there. And I didn't have time, so I didn't do it. I've been months without buying any car. And then, like, again, oh, my concept, oh, you should stop, check it out. I'm like, I didn't do. So next day I stopped, check it out. And it's literally there just waiting for me. Craziest spec 812 super fast I've seen in my life. Like, if God built that car for me, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And it just, everything was smooth. Everything was meant to. Like, I had a McLaren 765, which I didn't like.
You don't like the 765, the red one that you had the other day?
Yeah, I saw that one.
You were only driving it last week.
I know. Yeah, I was driving it, but like, I'm not a kid driving it. You know what I'm saying?
Do you know, that's the funniest thing, because I've never seen someone sit in an 812 Superfast with straight pipes that pretty much shoots flames out the back, and you were revving it in the car park, and the smile on your face, you could tell you were literally like a 6-year-old child in that car, just smiling, revving it, didn't care, you were just having fun.
Yeah. You know? No, I mean, don't take me wrong, it's fun, but it's not my vibe. I mean, I've had 4 McLarens, and it's never been like, you know, the car that is for me. You know, I'm like a Lambo guy, a Ferrari guy, you know, like, so it's just like, it's not for me. So again, like, if I put the 812 here and I rev it, you will understand why.
They scream.
I mean, it's just like, for me, it's like this. Imagine, again, you're a kid and you have toys. So now you have 10 toys there. I bet you're going to always play with 3 or 4.
That's true.
So that's what you get to understand in life. Do you really want to play with that toy? Or you just like using it because you have it or because you want to be seen in a way, you know? So that's where the key to just being in line and happy relies on.
So what would you tell me? I'm sitting here like, we've invested a lot of money. You know, we've spent almost $200,000 on this tour, going around, you know, hopping on the biggest podcast. And today, sitting here, there's like this tension in my body because I'm like, I've got to make this work. And it's almost, I've noticed sitting here on the podcast, there's this tension of like, I've got to make it work. I've got to ask the right questions. I've got to do well, because we've got to make sure that we do a good job blowing this stuff up on YouTube and getting the podcast out there and helping more people. What would you say to someone like me with this right now?
I mean, that's life. The thing, when you are very like, you know, feeling that way, you just can like get out of flow state. You know, like when you really care a lot about the outcome, you know, when you need the outcome is not gonna come. You know, like when you chase something, you repel that something. You know, so it's the thing is that you need to learn to just like let it flow. You know, like people that actually kill it at life is because they're themselves. Like me right now, I'm just here like, I don't even care. You know, like I just don't need anything. I don't need this watch or the Ferrari I just bought. That's why I have power, because I have it, but I don't need it, you know? And that's where power comes from. It's not having a lot of stuff or making a lot of money. It's just like not needing anything.
And so you got that from specifically spending enough time with yourself, doing those harder exercise sessions, the diet, and to be able to listen to those voices.
I feel obviously as I had nothing economically. I had nobody, you know, I was alone for a few years with no one. I've experienced like several times very close to death, you know, with motorcycle accidents, with cocaine overdose. Like I've realized that I actually don't need anything, you know. So
doesn't that drive your need to want more? Because I grew up very similar, where I had not much. My parents couldn't afford anything. My dad worked 2 jobs. We always went to a nice school. That was important to my mum. So, you know, we always went to a private college or something like that. But at there, I was always the poor kid. Mm-hmm. I always thought that drives my desire to have all the stuff, because there's part of me as well that, I don't know, it's not that I've got to prove it to anyone else, it's I'm proving it to myself, that I can have whatever I want. And I think that's driven me a lot. I'm just really interested that how did it not push too far one way for you?
Yeah. So, I mean, the thing is that when it's not a challenge, you're not going to like it. Mm-hmm. Like you right now, you're pushing it, and when you get the result, if you get it, it's going to taste amazing. And if you don't get it, who cares? Just do it again. But you think it's the result that's actually going to make you feel good, but it's not the result. It's actually the process, So imagine now, just like you spent 200K. So now in the next 2 months or 3 months, you do 200K extra. That 200K going into your bank account, it's not gonna make any difference. People don't understand that nothing external to you is gonna make you feel in peace. You can feel in peace with no money, and you can feel in peace with a lot of money. But in my experience, it's way harder to feel in peace with a lot of money. So the thing is, even for me, right now with the cash flow I do right now, I can live in a crazy mansion in the water. I can drive a Bugatti, any supercar I want, fly jet. I can do anything I want. So it just goes through a process. People just get trapped in that money, and it's never enough. It just again goes spiritual. When you are drinking from the water that is in this world, you're always going to be thirsty. If you get me this, let's say you buy a Ferrari. Okay, now you want to buy that McLaren. Okay, you buy that McLaren. Okay, now you want to buy that thing. Now you want to, it's never ending. You always going to be more thirsty. I smashed this Colombian chick. Oh, cool. Now I want to smash that one. Now I want to smash that one. You always thirsty, and you always feel like you're empty. So the actual work that you need to do, and everyone needs to do, is just to stop and just focus inside. And when you spiritually manage to connect with the spirit, and God, just starts operating for you. Now that water, you drink once, and you're not thirsty anymore. So if you really analyze, they're oh, these guys, they live in the mansion, but they don't need the mansion. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's
a difference, That's the thing. God will keep giving you if you actually operate in the right way. But if you always I'm spending this money, but I need that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just a process, bro. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work in yourself, and just a lot of questioning everything. Why I'm doing that, why I'm spending this money. An exercise you can make, for example, you're an intelligent guy, you can tell, is every time you just do something or say something, think, am I doing this from love, or am I operating from fear? There's only two ways of doing stuff, love or fear. If you actually doing something from fear, that's not gonna give you a good outcome. Never, never. Because if you're spending the money because you fear not having more money or not making more money, that's never gonna get to a good port. But if you're spending the money because doing it with love and without expecting anything in return, that's how more is gonna multiply.
That's awesome. How do you deal with from what I've seen, you're a superstar in Spanish-speaking countries. You have paparazzi and you're in the paper, and I don't think people from Australia or America understand how big a celebrity you are.
So they understand. Last time I went to Spain, I go lunch in a restaurant in the city. I don't tell anyone. I just go to a restaurant and I pull in the valet, and as I pull, everyone already see the Lambo, so they're already piling. So as I get out, photos. So maybe it was a big thing. So from where you park the valet to the restaurant is probably in meters. You go in meters.
Yeah, meters.
Right? Let's say, I don't know, 60 meters, something like that. I'm not exaggerating. I probably will take 30 photos. Mm-hmm. And when I'm eating, obviously the work comes around. So when I get out, another 40 or 50 photos until I get to the car. Mm-hmm. So, it's the thing is, I'm
you were at the gym the other day with, how many people were at the gym with you the other day? Just you were there, and
you mean that day?
Yeah, there was all people in the car park all taking photos of you and Wes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How many was there?
Yeah, I don't know, but
there's a lot.
They know me everywhere, bro. I go dinner and I can tell it's good because that's I'm just a normal guy. I'm just a dishwasher. I'm not an athlete or a superstar. I'm just a normal kid. And that is the proof that anyone can just do anything, And as God says, if you actually, acting and like living by the way God tells you, I mean, He will make you famous around the whole world because He wants to. Like He wants people that act that way to be known, because that's the example of how you need to live.
How do you take on that amount of responsibility where you have potentially millions of people who are all looking up to you?
Yeah.
Now, you're on boats, you've got cars, you've got your wife, but I've seen you on the boat with plenty of other girls and stuff like that.
Yeah.
How do you take on that responsibility of everyone else's expectations? And I'm assuming you get criticized and judged.
I've never really cared.
Really?
Like I don't care what people think about me.
Okay.
I really don't care. That's the biggest superpower. Like, not actually caring. People say I don't care, but like they care. So when there is a reaction, if someone tells you like, oh, you're a scammer, and you react, well, you care. Like the haters and people that do that stuff, they live from the reactions. So, I don't know how you say in English. In Spanish, there's a say that when you don't even like answer or like pay attention to something, that's the biggest thing you can do to someone, because people live off reactions of other people, of attention, But, that's why people don't grow in life, because they want responsibilities. That's why they're employees, because they don't want responsibilities. People don't want responsibilities, but they want the results that responsibilities give you. I have a massive responsibility. I have to wake up every day at 4:30 a.m. because I've said I do that, and I show that to millions of people every day. I cannot lack one single day, but I love that. I love that because that moves the world. That's why people make big change, because I am the reference. So it's not even for me. I can't miss for them.
I love that. I'm the reference.
Yeah.
That is brilliant.
But anyone can be me, but it's just they don't even believe they can. But we're all the same. God created us equal, but it's just they don't see the potential. They need someone like me that can see the potential, because when I see someone, I can only see what I've done. My eyes just see abundance, love, growth. Like there's no fear or scarcity in my mind. That's why I've put on my money so many times, because I have faith.
So you're saying, from my understanding, I take on the responsibility of others so that they can see what that looks like.
Exactly. A leader basically does that. It takes the responsibility for everyone and leads with the example. There's many people they go by, they're like very good leaders, and they even have like leaders courses, or like they're just do events around the world, be leadership events, and I mean they're fat. They don't even understand anything. I mean, a leader has to lead by example, and like, does a leader lead with the example of not respecting himself? I mean, what kind of leader is that, right? People just see it physically. Oh, it's just a body. I mean, he can be a leader but be chubby. I'm like, no, because now you're disrespecting, the temple of your spirit. I mean, God gave you a spirit. You came as a spirit here, and He gave you a body so you can experience this world, So the gift He gave you, you're disrespecting it. The temple of your spirit, where you put the spirit, now you're trashing it.
That's brilliant.
That's being disrespectful to your creator. So you're being disrespectful to your creator. It's like you being disrespectful to your mom. Do you think a good leader is going to be disrespectful to their mom? Someone that treats their mom bad. Do you listen to that person?
Probably not.
Yeah, but people don't really see that, or they don't really see. So disrespecting your mom and like in the closed doors and outside having another face is the same as like being fat, and just it's a face people don't understand, they don't see. But that's how it works, because how you do something is how you do everything. Marcus Aurelius said that how you do something is how you do everything. And that's a very, very powerful phrase that people don't want to like even digest, because it's hard to believe that how you do something is how you do everything. People be like, oh, whoa, like I cannot be good at fitness and nutrition, but I can be very good at sales. I mean,
they definitely impact each other.
Yeah.
I'm a perfect example of that. When I eat shit food, sales.
But it's everything, even like how you treat a poor man in the street. You know that like how you treat like the most poor people is how you treat Jesus. You know? So that's where you really see who that person is. You know, those little things makes everything, because people have like a suit, you know, but you really want to get into like someone's soul. That's how you really know who that person is. So I go deep into every single aspect of life. Like me, for example, I will not take advice of someone that is in shape, makes millions of dollars, like makes way more money than me, but just does cocaine all day. I mean, that would not be a good example. You know, it would take me to that path. You know, people just see the money. It's always the money, the money, the money, the money. And they don't understand that the money is just a consequence of who you are.
I love that. The money is a consequence of who you are. That is so true. What are your thoughts about, first of all, it sounds like Christianity or has played a big impact in your life. Did you grow up reading the Bible and things like that? And then you mentioned Marcus Aurelius. How does a lot of the great philosophies fit together with your thoughts about Christianity?
So I don't consider myself of any religion. I'm just friend with God. You know, I have a relationship with him.
When you say God, are you talking about the Christian version of the man
So,
upstairs, or are you talking about the spirit or the energy?
I'm saying God is the creator, you know, and then, you know, Jesus, I have him here, his son, like us, that came to this world to just show us in this same space how it's done. When I grew up, I was just never like, I was just my lane, bro. But the thing is, like, when you actually go deep into like working in yourself, you start like seeing stuff. And like when you realize luck is God, that's different. And when you understand that there is no coincidences, it was like, oh, what a coincidence. There's no coincidences. So when you really understand that, your life is gonna take a turn, you know? I say everyone has to believe what they believe, walk their path, go at their speed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like the thing is that people want to go too fast or they go too slow. And I always say, you know, new levels, new devils. That's why it's more pressure, more responsibilities. And the more pressure, the more you grow. The only difference of like, if you talk about business, making money, making like $1,000 a month to making $1 million a month, it's just like you're able to sustain more pressure.
I love that. So as you grow, you just keep putting in the work. So it doesn't matter how much pressure there is, you're still waking up at the same time, still doing
I
your
always
burpees,
up the pressure.
still eating.
Like I don't relax. Like people when they have a win, you know, like they look how they want to look. Now they relax. They buy the car they wanted. Now they relax. Like me, always like up intensity. My students, they share with me like testimonies. So like, oh bro, like I've lost like, 20 kilos last. It's amazing. I'm like, yeah, good. Now you can up intensity because now you're stronger. Now you're more disciplined. Now you can sleep less. Now you can work more. You can go harder. It's like cars. You have a 720S?
Yes.
Okay, imagine you race. And people don't understand this because they don't race.
Jess is going to kill you if you go down this path, and I'm gonna rock up in an SVJ next week.
Okay.
She's going to send you a hate mail.
Yeah. The thing is, people operate such like a low performance that nothing matters. You're just such an amateur at life that nothing matters. But when you're a pro, and let's say you get a stock car, and now you put a turbo. And now you upgrade the suspension. Well, now instead of like doing laps at like 2 minutes in Phillip Island, right? It's in Australia. Now you can lap at 1 minute 52 seconds. Like 8 seconds per lap. That's like 2 universes. That's like a universe difference. 8 seconds difference in a road trip of 10 hours from Adelaide to like Sydney, I don't know, whatever. There's nothing. Who's gonna feel a difference, right?
Yep.
But like it's a massive difference when you're operating at top level. So that's the thing people need to understand, that there's a massive difference that you need to keep. Like for example, me, before I would read the Bible and I would not understand anything. Now I can read a sentence and I just go to another like state of conscience just by a sentence. So it's just like your level of conscience, you gotta keep elevating, and there's no limit. mean, literally, you were talking about girls before. Like me, I think it was 2 months ago, I literally gave all Latinas to God. I'm married like 7 years ago, but like I got to like a relationship where like I would have fun with other girls and my wife, and I thought everything was good, but it got to a point where like, obviously God was speaking me so clear and so loud that I was like, oh, what I'm doing here, I'm saying no more. And the thing people is like, oh, well, that's easy. Well, when you can have it, I mean, I could snap a finger and have any chick I want, and now I decide not to. That's power, being able to have but not having. Power is not like not being able to have and not having because you can't, So as I say, that's a massive level up in conscience.
What do you think makes people think that that's the goal?
I mean,
Because so many people I know, especially when they're young, like I get it every week, as do you. I mean, you probably get it every day. I get it quite often as well, where young guys are like, I want to buy a Lambo, and they're like 21 years of age. I'm working hard so that I can buy a Lambo, and like even if they do work to that level, the next second they're doing cocaine, and I mean, we have people who come to our events who are high-level business owners, and they're just plowing through, tons of drugs and partying and drinking all the time. Why do you think that is the benchmark in society for success?
I mean, they just spiritually they haven't worked anything in themselves, So, me, for example, how I became a millionaire, you have like, health, okay, relationships, you have money, and then you have spirit, So there's like 4 big areas in your life. So myself, there's many ways of doing it, right? People do it in many ways, but first health, so I got in very good shape. I still was broke, but I was in top shape. So by getting into my...
Broke but ripped.
Broke but ripped. So by getting there, I could attract, and then dropping all my vices, all my drugs, I could attract the love of my life. So God gave me my wife. So he gave me like a best relationship, the closest one. Not only like, obviously relationship with other people, but like the main one is obviously your partner, the biggest influence, right? 2 biggest decisions you have in your life: who you listen to and who's your partner. If you manage to dial those 2 things, you do like this. Okay, so then I have my partner. So I became a millionaire. So I had the health, I had the relationships, and I had the money. I was a millionaire. But spiritually, like no work, nothing. What happened, obviously, relationship-wise, I started surrounding myself with like, people that do party, drugs. What happens is that you get to the point and you feel empty. You're like, why? I mean, I'm driving the Lambo to the gym. I'm ripped, right? I have my hot-ass wife that I love. And you just don't understand, but you don't feel good. You feel empty, right? But in that point, you don't really want to even like acknowledge it, like, oh, no, you think in yourself, no, I'm having the best life. But you keep going, and like, I kept going, and I started doing drugs and partying, and I developed an addiction to cocaine, and I nearly killed myself with an overdose. So that made me wake up, and because when in that moment, and also like a motorcycle accident, I had like not very separate in time, I realized that when the motorcycle accident, I was left on the floor. The ambulance came, and I couldn't stand up. I thought my back was broken. I thought I could not walk ever again. And when I got into the hospital, all that process, all that time, I just wanted to just be able to stand up and go with my wife. And I didn't care about like no Lambos. I didn't care about like being a millionaire. I just wanted to be able to do that. In that moment, without actually, unconsciously, I was kind of like, asking, because I was telling myself, I just want that. I'll do anything. And I was asking God to give me that. So he gave me that. I go to the hospital, and like, I even get like my skin, I get goosebumps. I just stand up. And I just literally stand up, and I just left. And like from that day onwards, I was just focused on like being that kid. And that's what brought me here, So people don't work in the internal spiritual way. It's okay to just understand that material desires, like if you're watching this and your dream is having a Lambo, fuck yeah, like go for the Lambo. I mean, I was in that point. Actually going for that Lambo is what brought me here. understand that if you desire something in your heart, go for it. That's literally God putting you a path, you know, because if you desire X, Y, Z, it's gonna put you that direction, right? So you desire living in Miami, but you end up gonna come this way, right? So that's good. If it actually comes from within and it's really something really deep in you, you gotta follow that, you know? And, you know, okay, whatever, you think that's gonna bring you happiness, get it. And when you realize, you know, you will be pivoting. And it's always a work in progress.
I think that there was just a brilliant piece that you almost skipped over. But the thing is that a lot of the time it's just those pivots. It's not, you're not going backwards. It's just you're pivoting.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I always say people like, you know, for me, a Lambo was like, bro, I'm a car guy. I mean, you know, it's like the dream. But that's the thing. If it's really something inside you, like whatever it is, it can be like buying your mama house or whatever, living here. Understand, like each of us are so unique, okay? We put here by God with a specific mission and specific like gifts to do that mission, all right? So we need to find what's our mission and find what are our gifts, you know? And those desires you have inside you are like, let's say, a guide to find it.
What's your mission and your gifts?
So my gifts, obviously, like communication is a big gift I have. That's why I use it, you know. But my mission right now, literally, is just like guiding people to just find themselves, you know, like make them live to their full potential. Like I don't get any more like excitement or anything of like my own achievements. When I win, I work harder.
I love that. When I win, I work harder.
Yeah.
Oof, I love it.
That's it.
What keeps you so driven now? Like you've got everything that you want. Is it just the next soul that you're opening up, or
it's my spirit, bro? I can't stop. I try. I'm telling you, I try to stop. I can't. I've literally tried going to the beach with my wife, and as I get into it, I'm just like doing a video, and I get to the front of the beach, and it's like a private beach in a hotel. It's not like everyone is there. So I'm like, oh, this is nice, you know? I'm like, oh, let's sit down there. She's like, okay. And my wife is like surprised, you know? So as I sit down, the guy that is sitting down is like, oh, it's Llados. Like, he does a photo with me. Like, I sit down, I just start working. I'm like, oh, this sun, bro, like, I can't really, like, you know, work good with this sun. I'm like, well, I'm just going to relax a little bit. So I just do like this and look, and I'm like, okay, let's go. Like, my conscience doesn't let me.
how does your wife handle that? Like, how does she get time with you where you're present and not on all the time and always working?
I'm always working on that, like more time with her, but it's hard, bro. Like when God calls you, I mean, there's nothing else, bro. I mean, literally, like it's everything it's bigger than you. It's bigger than your wife. It's bigger than your family. Understand that it's not about the time you spend with your wife. It's about the quality of the time you spend with your wife.
Yes.
You know, you can spend a full evening with your wife and be nothing. You know, like stuff like my wife telling me things like I've built the man that she didn't even thought or dream that existed means more than spending a full summer with her drinking.
How do you not take on that pressure from your wife? Because especially with women, they like to be homely or grounded somewhere. They like that safety and that security. I guess in Australia, they call it like the nest.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that all women like want to be homebodies, but for them, a lot of the time, they need safety and security in a place that's their own. How do you deal with that? How do you have that conversation?
For a relationship to be successful, your wife cannot think that she has you forever. You know what I'm saying? Like
100%.
when you give something for granted, it's taken off you. My wife knows me and understands also like she has to constantly put the work to still be with me. And I have to obviously constantly put the work for me to be with her. Mm-hmm. Because I've also experienced that. You need to constantly pay attention to what you want to keep. If you want to keep your wife, you need to pay attention to your wife. You want to keep your body, you need to pay attention to your body. You want to keep a friend, you got to pay attention to that friend. Everything is attention. That's why it's very hard to find that man or woman that has everything.
I love that. You've got to pay attention to the things that you want to keep or that you want to grow.
Anything that you stop paying attention dies. You stop paying attention to a plant, it dies.
Man, we've just we've flown halfway across the world with our plants left indoors for 5 weeks without any water. So they're probably going to die. We'll get back and they'll be dead.
Yeah,
Jess is laughing because I said, we need to put those outside. And she's like, no, they'll be fine.
Yeah.
We'll see how we go.
Yeah.
But very, very true.
Yeah.
So how do you manage your time when you've got so many people casting their attention on you, or they don't just give you their attention, they demand your attention as well? How do you deal with those demands on your time and your attention when you're still trying to look after your body, look after your relationship, give attention to your friends, do things like this?
Yeah. I see life as like there's two phases of life. Like you can be working in building yourself or working in building others, So let's say if I work in building myself, well, what I'm going to read or do or stuff is going to be different of someone that comes to me and is starting, right? So as soon as I wake up, I prioritize the most important thing, which is myself. People have to love themselves more than anyone in the world. Because if you love more your wife than yourself, now everything goes sideways, So as soon as I wake up, it's my time. I work on my health, I read, I write, I reflect. So that's like, it's non-negotiable. And once that's done, I transcend and I just like give to others. And I'm always giving, But I give without expecting anything in return, because love is not giving. Love is giving with no expectations. So I just give, not expecting anything. Or I've always given what has got me what I have. If you want to keep something, let's say your body, your McLaren, your house, you have to give the world whatever has got you that.
I love that. I guess that's something that you teach your followers as well, because I have that same challenge almost on a daily basis where people want to grow, they want to build their business. Like we work with a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of business owners. They want to build their business. They want to make more money. They want to have the better lifestyle. But at the same time, you then say, well, you need to invest in yourself and hop on board with one of the products or programs that can help you. And then the first thing that they do is they use money as the excuse of why they can't do it. Do you think that that's one of the biggest reasons why people don't really get what they want, because they never see themselves as the investment? It's always something outside of them that they're always trying to get.
It's basically because people value money more than themselves. Like you can't save everyone, Someone wants to save themselves. So I've never valued money more than myself, and I've actually demonstrated that myself, putting all my money in the line many times. So don't let money control you, but you control money. So I make money, but I just let go money. I'm not fear. I just let go money. So you grab money, like if this was money and you grab it, so you've grabbed money, but now you don't want to let go money. So how are you going to grab more money? How you grab more money? You let go, and now you grab.
I love that analogy.
Yeah. Now you grab 50. Well, you got $50, bro. Now you spend one. Now you got 49. Now you spend one. Now you got 48. And now they just start panicking like, shit's going down. This thing is going down. I'm like, yeah, 47. But like, you got to let go. But you got to let go with faith. Because if you don't let go with faith, it's not going to come back.
Do you think that the faith part is the part that most people are missing when they're spending a lot? So there are a lot of people out there, I think it's most of the world, they get money, but then they get rid of it on things like drugs or cars or house or to impress others.
Blowing it in drugs, party, that's stupid. I mean, that's literally not going to get you anywhere. Like vices are destroying you. That's one side. That's clear.
What about the property guy though that makes $1 million a month?
Okay.
And then he gets the money and then he goes and puts it in property. Yeah, his
okay,
body's...
that's great that you. I was gonna ask you examples of your people. So that's an example of your people, right?
Yes.
So they're scared.
Okay.
So I'm gonna put you an example. How you make an investment with love or how you invest with fear. I could have bought a building with $3.8 million, but I bought a Bugatti.
Yeah.
Because I'm not scared that I'm not gonna make more money. So I invest with love, which means accomplishing a dream, okay, and experiencing the $3.8 million. You can experience them anytime I drive it, okay, and most importantly, giving faith to millions of people that kid bought a Bugatti. And now they're like, oh, I can too. It's not only football players. I can too. But if I got those $3.8 million and I bought a building and, I'm making, 20K cash flow, that is every month coming safely to my account, that's fear. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I don't see myself not making money
because
I ain't gonna stop working. These people want to stop working. They invest with fear because they want to stop working. But they don't understand that if they stop working, they're going to die.
the person who buys the property because they love property,
Yeah.
different story though, right?
Obviously,
versus the person who does it
very-
because they're scared.
Obviously very different. If you're passionate about it, of course, everyone knows why they're doing something. You
Yep.
know what I'm saying? Like there's people, I'm just gonna pile houses and houses and houses. Like, bro, like experience your life. I mean, you can die tomorrow, literally. And they're like planning their life for like safe when they're like 60. Like if these people will know by a fact that they will die in 60 days, they would act the same way? Hell no, they'll get that money and buy that Lambo. They'll get that money and do that trip. They'll get that money and buy their wife that bag. Like I bought my wife that 20 grand, 25 grand bag. Oh, that's not a smarty. That makes her fucking crazy happy. Like, it's not the money, but it's the experience. Like if someone comes here and try to convince you that driving a Rolls Royce is not a different experience from driving a Prius,
Oh, fucking oath it is.
they've never been close to a Rolls Royce, So money's not bad. Love for money is bad. Taking advantage of people, that's devil. Making money changes people's lives, impacting lives, that's God.
I love that. And it's so good to hear people say that. You can actually tell the real ballers, the people who are living the life that they love, because I get that quite a lot on social media where someone says, like they're a parent, they've got kids and whatever, and they're like, having an expensive car is stupid. I've never rocked up when I had no money and I was rocking up in my wife's little Hyundai. She had a little Hyundai Getz. Some people who are watching this probably remember us rocking up to events in this little Hyundai. Now back then I didn't care. I wanted to build a company. That was my goal. But when I rock up in the McLaren, the little actually not even little kids, adults get excited. Again, it's that childlike.
Exactly.
That's the thing. It's that childlike.
Exactly.
They'll come up. They want to have photos.
You got it there. Like me yesterday, I bought a Ferrari, and I mean, if you see the video, I'm like a kid.
Yep.
He brought that kid, so it's already worth it. But people misunderstand a lot. They just put always the money. Like they mix money with like living, and it's different. And like, me and my wife, we don't need the expensive stuff to be happy. We've been happy with no money. We're happy with money. But are you gonna choose being happy in a mansion or being happy in a hostel? What do you choose? We all know what you choose, right? So it's about learning how to live. Seneca said this: the hardest thing to do in life is learning how to live, And I know how to live broke, and I know how to live rich. So since I started like really operating like this in 2015, I've never had any problems. I've always had food, always had a roof, and I've always been able to have fun, And I could care less a fuck about what you think about me. So I'm winning.
How did you find that not giving a fuck about what people think about you? When did that happen? Has that been something that you've always had from a young age, or was there a point in time where
you
you
develop?
clicked?
Obviously, the more results you get, the more confidence you have in yourself.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, I know you've got to start wrapping up. You've got a busy day. Someone's watching this right now and they're starting the journey. What's the first thing that has to change? What's the commitment they need to make? And how do they start living this path that you're talking of?
So first of all, like it's easy. Don't try and complicate stuff. Don't try and see my Instagram and try and do everything I do right now, because you're gonna overwhelm you. Start like step by step. The first steps anyone needs to take is, first of all, in shape, making money, operating from love. Do that, So get yourself out of your environment that's pushing you down. That's the most important thing. Focus on listening to someone that is actually living the life that you want to live, and like do that, apply that, and wake up early before 5 a.m. Work out in the gym. I work out twice a day, gym and burpees. eat good, you know, and also focus in working as hard as possible in one way. Hey, what you want to be? You want to be a coach? You want to have this business, this? Just focus on that. That's what you need to do. And like, don't try to understand everything before doing it, because you're never going to. The path is going to illuminate as you walk it. People are like, oh, but what's going to happen over there? Like, take a step, take another step. Oh, you fall down. It's okay. Stand up, take another step. And it's as simple as that, bro. But people need to know what's going to happen before taking that step. And that's never going to happen.
I love that. So the first thing is really they've got to just start walking the path, clean up the diet a bit, start moving a little bit more, just start operating from love and not fear.
I mean, with business, there's so many stuff, but bro, like people think the website is going to make you money. It's not the website. People think a funnel is going to make you money. It's not the funnel. I mean, everyone knows how to build a funnel, bro. It's so easy. Like, go to YouTube, build a funnel. Like, I don't spend a single dollar in ads. Not a single dollar. Nothing.
So it all just comes through the way you live and just using your social media.
It's all organic.
Yep. Just as we wrap up, you mentioned you get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. What time do you go to bed? And what happens when you're tired in the middle of the day?
I go to bed usually probably to be honest, it's going to be more like 11. But sometimes I try earlier. Sometimes it's later. But I don't usually go later than like 11:30, 12.
And then you're up at 4. So that's like 4 hours. That's 4.5 hours sleep.
No, that's five and a half, 6 probably.
Oh, sorry, from 11, yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
So I'm tired in the middle of the day from getting up at 4:30. Do I sleep? Do I have a nap?
15-minute nap.
Okay.
Or like I recommend first do exercise. Do exercise, and if that doesn't fix it, take a 15-minute nap, and that's it, and keep going.
So when you're tired, trying to convince yourself to exercise, how do you do that? Is it just
I just don't negotiate with myself.
Okay.
If my conscience tells me do something, I do it. I train myself to do that.
Okay.
So it just takes time.
Yep.
You can't turn into like these habits tomorrow.
Okay.
But you need to push it, but never regress, you know?
Yep.
Always progress.
And then you're traveling. So you're doing speaking engagements and you're traveling interstate. Over here, you've got different time zones. How do you make sure that you manage your food, especially when you're tired and when you're traveling?
Yeah.
How do you make sure you still hit your macros?
It's harder, but I do it. I mean, I don't sleep on it. If you travel a lot, it's gonna be harder. But I travel and I always in shape. Mm-hmm. So I understand in my mind in the 24-hour period how much food I'm eating. Mm-hmm. You know, just understand how many calories I'm eating. I make sure I don't overeat.
Yep. So even if you go out to a nice fine dining restaurant, what are you eating?
Steak.
What are you looking for?
Steak.
Yep.
Usually steak. You know, like if I can I'll share the dessert with my wife, but not always.
Okay. Yeah. That's very cool. Any last words to the people that are watching?
The smallest thing is what's going to bring you the biggest results, you know.
That's amazing. Yeah. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I know the community's going to love this. Thank you. Most people waste their life, and I just don't want you to be one of them.